What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi, and today we're going to be talking about Record Buster. Now, when it comes to this Record Buster, this one's a little bit different than ones we've had in the past. Let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to do difficulty 6 and try to improve on my score, which frankly won't be very difficult because that last score was kind of pathetic. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about specifically what OTTARL does, because we always talk about strategies, but we never really have talked about what they do turn by turn, or at least we haven't done it in such a long time. I think those videos are fairly irrelevant by now. So let's go ahead and talk about this, and talk about strategies and things you might want to take advantage of, so that you can get the best possible run in Record Buster. Now, this said, my team is not perfected. My team is still not terribly good, in my opinion. I think I can do a lot better. Now, we're going to be working on teams. If you guys want to be a part of that, it is something fun we do on streams on the weekends where there's Record Buster. We just spend a lot of time talking about teams, team building, and things like that. So tonight around 10 p.m. we will be live. We will be talking about Record Buster a lot. It probably won't be the only thing we do, but we'll talk a lot about Record Buster. So if you want to join in, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Like I said, 10 p.m. Eastern time tonight, we'll be live. So hope to see you there. Let's just go ahead and jump in. Now, I'm not going to talk about the team too much. You probably can figure out pretty much what this team does by now. But just in case, let's go ahead and jump in here and get started. Now, turn 1, OTTARL's going to come out of the gate with an AoE attack, 2 single targets, and he's going to reduce our endurance, which is no fun. I could boost endurance, but frankly, I don't think it's going to be the greatest thing in the world. I think what we do here is probably the best possible scenario. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and debuff water. Reason I'm going to do that, I have a good debuff on my Fire Riv, but my Water Riv only buffs. She doesn't debuff. So we're going to go ahead and have to debuff water in order for her to produce the kind of damage that she really needs to produce. I'm also going to go ahead and do the buff on this Riv area, and we're going to go ahead and buff the Light Haruhime. Okay. Now, the only thing that sucks here is we have not debuffed turn 1, so we're going to take some heavy hits. And I really don't mind him hitting Leafia, so long as we got that debuff off, which we did. So we got a pretty decent debuff there. Not the best, but certainly not the absolute worst. So having that debuff is going to be very, very, very important. The only thing I will say is I might revamp my team a little bit, because buffing with water is going to produce a little bit more, or buffing with your water assists and fire assist is going to produce more than debuffing in this case, because of the way these two rifts work. But neither here nor there. We'll get into that later on. I'm going to go ahead and do Annihilation Rift on this turn. The reason I'm going to do that, if you're not familiar, this is the physical OTTARL. Now, this OTTARL is weak to magic. You need to debuff his magic. Debuffing physical is only so effective. He's already weak 50% to magic, and he is basically deficient technically in magic. He is strong against physical attacks, so you want to be using single target magic units for this fight. Alright? Now, I don't believe he has any kind of native weakness in the ailments, so just use whatever ailment. And the thing I didn't discuss in the beginning, he does seal, which he'll do on turn 3. So you need to make sure you have seal anklets, or if not, you can use the 3-star Anya assist on whatever unit you're bringing in on the final rotation here, if you're doing it this way. Basically, use 3-star Anya, and that will stop sealing as well, if you don't have the anklets made yet. So I covered that in the previous Record Buster video. If you guys want, I can recover it this Record Buster, but the video is out there. Alright, so we're going to do Annihilation Rift. That is a 45% Strength and Magic debuff. Strength debuff is really what we're looking for here, but I digress. We're going to debuff him 45%, where the OG Haruhime only debuffs 40%. So OTTARL is slightly better. He's a really good sack for this. Alright? Now, in this turn, I'm going to go ahead and continue my buff stack. I'm now going to debuff with Fire Riv, and we're going to go ahead and do the single target and AoE debuff that the Light Haruhime does. Okay? Now, you notice he's hitting nowhere near as hard as he was before because of that OTTARL debuff. Now, to keep that debuff on this turn, I've got to use Yosuga. I must do that, or else the debuff expires after this turn, which is why we brought OTTARL in on turn 2, not turn 3. Now, to talk about turn 2, turn 2 is 3 single targets, and he affects us with a slow, so it's really not that big a deal. Turn 3 is a single AoE, and then, like I said, on turn 3, he's going to affect us with Seal if we don't have the Seal Anklets or a Seal Assist, so plan for that accordingly. We've got to do Yosuga. I'm going to go back and now do our major attacks, and we're basically going to do that for the next 2 turns. Okay? Boom. Now, turn 4... he's once again going to do a single AoE, and then at the end of this turn, after we've done everything we need to do, he's going to do one really big AoE, which removes buffs. That is his big SA. Here we go. And then all of our buffs are gone after this turn, so we're going to have to rebuff. That is why we don't use Haruhime's SA on turn 4, and why we really don't worry about too much of that other stuff, because once again, turn 4, or turn 5, all of our buffs are gone. It's another reason we don't use Line, though there is some tactic to that. Having those first 4 turns of the 33% SA gauge charge could produce good results come late game, but I found I don't necessarily need it for my runs. Alright, so in this turn I'm going to go ahead and do Sheikah. Now notice that his debuffs are all still in place, but his debuffs have been moved out so many turns, we ain't even worried about that. So I'm going to go ahead and do Sheikah this turn. That's going to give us a counter rate and counter rate and penetration rate charge. We're going to go ahead and rebuff with all of our units. Now, we don't need a re-debuff, so on the next turn, we're just going to basically spam Sheikah and continue our onslaught. Now, the only exception to that is Water Riv, who needs basically another buff. Alright, so Water Riv gets her second buff. That's Magic and Dex. And then everyone else is just going to go on the attack. Now, the easy question is here, why are we not super attacking on these turns? Well, the simple fact of the matter is I want to build up my gauge enough. We could do a special attack really at any point now. It's not the end of the world. By the way, I didn't talk about turn 5 and turn 6. Turn 5 is a 1 AoE, and he debuffs 30% endurance again. Turn 6 is 3 single targets with a slow. Turn 7 that we're getting into here is a single AoE, and he does ailment again, which in this case is Seal. Alright, got to get back in the habit of talking about those, because it's easy to get in the habit of talking about what I'm doing, not necessarily what he's doing. So turn 7, he's going to do 1 AoE, so we're not really worried about that. And he's going to affect us with ailment, which we're also not worried about. So all your third turns are pretty much the easiest turns in the match. Alright, I say third turn. Third turn after his SA. Alright, so Yosuga, we're going to go ahead and do our big attack with her. Everybody else is doing their big attack. It's really not that crazy of a deal. Boom. Alright. Now, I'm going to save all of this stuff for turn 9. Turn 8, he's going to do a single AoE, then he's going to do his SA. I'm going to save the rest of this for turn 9, because unlike turn 8, turn 12 does do an SA, but it does not remove our buffs. So, if we buff on turn 9, we're going to be in a much better place. So rather than, the temptation here to attack like you do with some of your other effects, he doesn't really buff or debuff himself. All he does is remove our buffs. So we're going to save everything we've got for turn 9 and basically do a huge SA spam. Alright? So, turn 8, he's going to do a single AoE, and then he's going to do his SA. So we're just going to keep spamming our attacks. We're not going to change anything. We're just basically going to hammer down on him like crazy. There we go. Okay. Fire Rift took a decent amount of damage there, but that's alright. Now, we've got a buff again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do Sheikah. I'm going to do Frozen Orb. That's her first buff. I'm going to do Loon Anomaly. And I think I did say that we were going to do a big attack here. I'm actually going to, and I'll show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something a little bit different, but it's all good. It's all good. Follow me here. We should work up. Okay. We're just shy of a quad SA. So in this turn, we should be his debuffs are like 14 turns. We ain't even worried about that. So I'm going to go ahead and do an SA with Haruhime, an SA with Fire Riv, and an SA with Light Haruhime. The reason I'm going to do that is because Water Riv needs to rebuff one more time, so I'm going to save that for another SA later on down the road. But first, turn 9, I didn't talk about what that did. That is a 1-turn AoE and then 30% endurance down debuff again. So I believe everyone should have endurance debuff. Yeah, it's right there. Now, that's not going to affect us too much, but that does affect a bit of our critical rate. It's not fun. It's not decent, but it's what he does. So it's just what we're going to have to deal with. Turn 10 are 3 single target attacks with slow. Now, the goal here is to survive this, because there's a point where he could just come out of the gate and just hammer down on somebody 3 times. That person dies. If that happens, it's just RNG. It's just phenomenal, poor, terrible luck. He doesn't do it terribly often, but if it happens, it happens. So let's go ahead. And the reason you're going to do Haruhime's buff on this turn, I guess you could do it turn 1 if you really wanted, but I find it's better to do here as a triple, because then she also gets the critical and the counter rate and penetration rate. Penetration being one of the most critical things to this team. All right. Fire Riv going. And like I said, Fire Riv actually has a little bit more in her because I'm not buffing. I'm debuffing with my assists. I've really got to improve my buff assist. Okay. A little less than a mil. I expected more out of her, if I'm honest. I really expected like 1.5 or something. That's okay. Okay. Now it is worth noting that Haruhime is not debuffed, so she's not going to hit the hardest. But she still hit for 1.17. She actually hit harder than Fire Riv, and Fire Riv... Anyway. It's the way RNG goes sometimes. Boom! Okay. That was a big triple. Everyone got a big heal out of it. We're pretty much good to go now. Alright, on this turn, I'm going to go ahead and spam Yosuga again. We're going to go ahead and do all of our big attacks. And let's go. Now, the one thing you will probably notice here is that Haruhime is running low. The light Haruhime is running low in MP. There is some possibility you might be able to use like an assist that gives her MP, or maybe save some early attacks. There's a tactic to it, and I haven't quite figured out what I want to do with that yet. So once again, there's a bit more damage available in my team. Now, turn 10 we talked about, 3 single attacks slow. Turn 11 we didn't talk about. That's a single AoE with ailment again, just like we did with turn 3 and turn 7. Turn 11 is exactly the same thing. Turn 12 is a single AoE. In the end, he's going to do an SA, but this time, the SA does not debuff us, which is why we went so crazy trying to get those buffs out. Now, at this point, basically, I'm just spamming our big attacks and then trying, emphasis on trying, to build more SA gauge charge. We might be able to get a triple out on turn 15, but I don't think so. Okay. That's what I get for not running a strength debuffer. Alright. Well, you know what? The show must go on. Turn 13 is a single AoE and a single target. Both of these units have a decent amount of health. So, there you go. If you can learn anything from my mistake there, it's make sure you're running somebody that removes some of his strength. There are quite a few units in there. There's like the Hestia that does it 20%. That would be a really good unit. There's a few other units out there, but I'm not running one of them, and it was a huge gamble on this run, and therefore I kind of got screwed. It's a thing. Like I said, and I did admit in the beginning, there is a bit more damage available in this team. So this is not going to be a top tier run. This isn't going to be a run for numbers. This is literally just now a learning run. All right. So 13th turn, like I said, a single AoE, single target. Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and do Haruhime's Sheikah on this turn. And I'm going to do an SA here. Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do an SA. Basically, I'm just going to spam SAs until I can't. I don't think I'm going to build up one more. Can't really do that with two people attacking, even with the SA gauge charge. So, and remember, the Haruhime, the OG, does not have that 33% because she came in after Finn was applied. So, it is what it is. All right, turn 14 are 2 AoEs with ailment. So we're just going to go ahead and SA on this turn as well. Really no reason not to, if I'm completely honest. And I probably could have, should have, and would have put OG Haruhime on doing her Akane attack. Get just a little tiny bit more damage out there, but also I want to make sure Riv survives. So maybe I did the right thing. Now, turn 15 doesn't matter. So turn 15, I'm definitely going to go in here and do that. All right. Those are the 2 AoEs. 5th turn is a single AoE with ailment. So I'm not really worried about that. Akane and Piercing Chill. Just try to get a little bit more damage out. I'd be lucky if I break 200 mil on this one. Just because I did lose the Fire Haruhime. Or Fire Riv and Light Haruhime. Okay. 328, slightly better than my last run. So we're improving little by little. It still isn't really representative of the final run I'd like to produce. We're definitely going to work on that tonight on stream. But remember, turn 1, OTTARL, is an AoE, 2 single target attacks, and a 30% endurance debuff. Turn 2, 3 single targets with a slow. Turn 3, actually, I take the back. I don't think he's doing slow this time. I don't think he's actually bothering with the slow on this one. On most situations, he's going to do slow. But I believe this time around, he's not doing that. Turn 3 is the third, is a single AoE with an ailment. In this case, it is Seal. 4th turn is a single AoE with the big SA and buff removal at the end of that turn. 5th turn is a single AoE with endurance down again. 6th turn is a 3 single target. When he applies slow, that will apply slow on that one. Once again, I don't believe he's doing it this time around. 7th turn is a single AoE with ailment. In this case, Seal. 8th turn is a single AoE, and with another SA at the end that removes buffs. 9th turn is a single AoE, 30% endurance down. 10th turn is a 3 single target attack, and slow if that is applicable to that run. 11th turn is a single AoE with ailment again. 12th turn is a single AoE with another SA, but this time he does not remove your buffs. So that's why we did our Haruhime buff a little bit earlier on that one. 13th turn is a single AoE with a single target. 14th turn is a double AoE with ailment. And 15th turn is a single AoE with ailment. So that is all of your runs right there. That is everything you need to know so that you can succeed at this. Let me know if there's any questions in the comments down below. Hopefully that helps you guys out. For now, that's going to be the video. I'm going to go work on my Record Buster team a little bit, and hopefully I'll see you tonight because we're really hoping to perfect this and get, 400 or 500 million out this evening rather than, just sitting idly by. I need to chase Lena a little bit, so we'll do a little bit of that tonight too. Video, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.